Hey everybody, it's Denise from uBlossom, and I am happy to come to you today to talk about how we can nurture our minds. And I have been chatting with Anne. You may remember her from a couple of our uBlossom retreats in the past. She is a core member of uBlossom, and she is a haiku poet. She's also a graphics designer. And we're going to talk today a little bit about what it is to be practicing haiku and how it taps into the mind. And yeah, I'm just really, really excited to have you here. So hi, Anne. Welcome. How are you doing?
Good. Hi, Denise. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here, and I'm excited to be part of uBlossom. It's been a couple of years since I did a retreat with you, so it's good to be back and doing this.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know what haiku poetry is, it is a Japanese form of poetry that started centuries ago. And it's really about mindfulness, actually, and being in nature and the senses. And most importantly, it's about being in the moment.
Wow, that's important. And right now we are in the moment. We're at home. We're trying to get outside a little bit, but it's actually a great time to just be fully present. So when you are doing haiku, or first of all, how did you get into haiku? What got you started writing haiku?
That's a really good question. Well, we're going to go back several decades. The very first haiku that I ever wrote was when I was 10 years old, and it was with the help of my grandma, and she wrote haiku poetry. So I had an English arts assignment to write haiku, so I went to her to get some help with it. And I wasn't really that interested in haiku at that time, but that was when I first wrote my very first one. And then I got interested in more of Asian arts and Zen and simplicity and things like that, more through visual arts. And then about 2006, I started writing my own haiku. I just got more interested in all of the things that I was reading about Japanese culture. And I just was really drawn to the calmness and the simplicity that it offers and the nature part of it. And I didn't really know much about writing it. And I was going with what I learned, which is a 575 syllable count, which isn't quite accurate. And then I connected with the Vancouver haiku group. And that's when I learned a lot more about the structure and what it's based on, which again is about nature, and it's written in the present tense. And the senses are a really big part of haiku, and the senses are what really takes us back to ourselves. It connects us to ourselves, and it really keeps us in the moment and present.
Awesome. So for example, if I'm out on the beach, I can start thinking about the senses and start putting stuff together. What other things do you think that would be helpful if you're out for a forest walk?
Really what you just mentioned, like if you go out for a walk, just really be present and pay attention to what you can smell, especially if you're in the forest. It's raining here today, and I always just love the smell of just being outdoors after it rains. And what you see, I don't know, you might not want to get down on the ground and get into the dirt, but if you want to touch things, it's just really getting connected to the senses. I don't recommend tasting anything that's in the forest, but what you hear.
Sorry to interrupt you. I just had a thought about the Ginkgo Walk.
Yeah.
You do sometimes with groups.
A Ginkgo Walk is really a haiku walk, and it's in Japanese. Back in time, the Japanese haiku poets would gather together and they would go for a walk. They would separate and they'd kind of be on their own, and then they would observe what they would see in nature based on the senses, and then they would go back and gather together, and they would write based on all of the things that they saw and either smelt or heard when they were out there. And then they would share with each other the poems, the haiku that they would come up with.
That sounds awesome. That sounds
Mm-hmm.
great. Yeah, I think we did a little bit of that at Loon Lake at the retreat a few years
Mm-hmm.
ago. So that's a really great way to kind of get into the mode of starting to think about how words get strung together. I love the MailChimp newsletter that you send out every month. I enjoy reading the haiku that you write because it's, like you said, it's for the senses, it's for the seasons, and it's always really uplifting just to have that little moment to think about those things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So do you want to read us a poem? I know we didn't really prepare you for one, but if you have one near,
I do. I have one that a lot of people really liked. I wrote this a couple of weeks ago, and it is very, very reflective of where we're at in our lives these days. So I do have it in my head. So here it is. Pink moonrise, cherry blossom viewing, 6 feet apart.
I love that one. Yes, I remember that one. That's perfect. It's perfect. It's
yeah. There was a full moon around the time that I wrote it, so it was really kind of, and because it's cherry blossom season, so there's a few things going on there between the reflection of the moon and the pink and the cherry blossoms, and then of course the fact that we're all being forced to be 6 feet apart. So that was a big part of it.
Yeah.
And I did get a lot of comments on that one. So that's my hit right now.
Do you have another one that you're going to be sharing soon? Do you have any other ones?
I don't.
It's okay. It's okay. That was awesome. Yeah, I know I'm kind of throwing it at you, but that's how this little interview and check-in rolls. It's may not be perfect, but it's at least we're being authentic.
I think we're actually doing pretty good.
Yeah, it's been great. Well, thank you so much for having a little chat with me today, and I'm really excited about your haiku for mindfulness workshop that you're going to be doing at our upcoming retreats. And I would like to I'd like to connect everybody to your newsletter because you do write some beautiful things. And do you have any other courses or any other things that are coming up in your world for haiku?
I do. Well, as you mentioned, I've got the newsletter. So if anybody wants to go to my website, it's everydayhaiku.ca. And at the bottom is the sign up for the newsletter. I send it out once a week. It's short and it's sweet, and it's nice and simple and inspirational. And I've also just written my first book that is based on the newsletters. So it's a whole year of haiku with themes, as Denise mentioned. So it's got monthly themes, and it also has a journal page on each page. So the haiku and the little message is on the left of the book, on the left page, and then on the right is got lines for people to write and reflect on the monthly themes as you go through it. It should take you a year to read this book. It's a slow read.
You can pick up every couple days and look at it. I find your poems very inspirational. So thank you so much for doing what you do and connecting us to haiku, because it's a kind of a unique old practice, but one that I think is really important for being fully present, but doing some deep listening and outer listening in nature. So that's great. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I will, I look forward to checking in with you soon.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. That was awesome.
Great. Well, thanks everybody. I will be connecting with you soon. We've got a couple more speakers this week that we are going to be meeting with, and I will keep you connected. And again, if you have any questions or any emails, please don't hesitate, and stay safe, stay calm, and stay relaxed. And we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.